I'm here to show you the only 3 movements that you need to grow your glutes. You can forget about all those banded things that you've seen. You forget about all that body weight stuff. So I'm gonna kick it off with my favorite one. It is the Bulgarian split squat. So unlike a traditional back squat, we're gonna be using one leg, and we do need a bench or a box or something that's about 12 to 24 inches off the ground. Now, how far do I have to squat between this and this bar? Typically about a 3-foot distance. So I start with my foot back, 1, 2, and 3. Doesn't work for everybody, but I would say it works for about 90% of the people out there. So what we're gonna do is get that bar on our back, bring our feet together, put that foot back. You're gonna neutralize yourself. You're gonna come down. You're gonna get to about 90 degrees or below, and you're gonna come on up and you're gonna squeeze the glute that's behind you. So you're here and here. The only thing left to talk about is your foot position. So some of you guys are gonna like your foot like this, and some of you are gonna like the way I just did it, which is like this. This is the Bulgarian split squat. Absolutely love this movement. It is way, way better than a traditional back squat if you're growing your glutes. Number 2, the Bulgarian deadlift, AKA the single leg deadlift. This one is going to light you up more than any of the other 3 movements. The good thing is, we're gonna be using the same bench and we're gonna be using the same distance. So it's not too complicated. You're gonna use that 3-foot distance, 1, 2, and 3. Once I'm here, I center that foot that I'm gonna be using on the ground, put my foot back, same thing again. You might like this, you might like this. Preferably, for me, I like this. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull those hips down, all right? You're gonna make sure you're not bending over and picking up that bar. You're gonna sit down and pick it up. And you're gonna be here. Trying to stay away from this. All right, a lot of people do this and they put too much pressure on their lower back. So you guys wanna drop with that bar. So you're gonna be here and here. Another big common mistake that I see is people are too close. I get tons and tons of direct messages from people who are way too close, and they tell me that their lower back is starting to get pumped up during this movement. Their lower back hurts during this movement, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So they're typically probably about a 2-foot distance. So right about here, they're here. So because they're so close, it's really hard to sit down, so you wind up using that lower back more, and it just changes the position a lot. It doesn't put as much pressure on the glutes, it puts way more pressure on the lower back. So if you feel it in your lower back, probably because you're a little bit too close, open it up a little bit, you'll feel it in your glutes, and you're gonna know that you're in the right spot. All right, number 3, the hip thrust. The first order of business is having a little bit of protection for your hip, because as it gets heavy, it does get a little bit uncomfortable. I hear about that all the time. So get yourself a hip thrust pad, and then you guys can get thrusting here. When it comes to the position, you can use the same bench that we've been using for the deadlifts and the split squat. The only thing that's important is really getting your shoulder blade over that crease line, and then as you do the hip thrust, keeping your shins vertical. You guys are gonna dip down into your bench. You're gonna get this bar on the hip, so bring it in as close as possible. Guys, protect your junk. And then as you get here, just go ahead and tuck those legs in. Get the shoulders over the bench so you can see where I'm at. I'm not too far back and I'm not so far forward that the bench is gonna move. Get my shoulders over, bring my heels in. You can see my shins are pretty much vertical now. So as I come down, come up and pause. This is very important. You wanna come down, up, and pause. A lot of people, when they do their hip thrusts, they get to like right here because it's super heavy and they forget this last piece and they don't get that squeeze. That is probably the biggest thing that I see wrong with hip thrusts, is too many people try to go too heavy and they don't get that pause at the top, they don't get that engagement in the glutes, and they don't grow their glutes as much as people who go lighter and get that nice squeeze at the top. All right guys, those are the big 3. I promise you, if you start incorporating these 3 movements into your routine, your glutes are gonna grow more than they ever have before. And I'm excited to hear the feedback that you guys have on the single leg deadlift, because out of all the movements that I showed you, I have friends with 500-pound deadlifts that can barely do 95 pounds for a few reps. I'm telling you right now, that's the one that's probably gonna humble you the most. So if there's any questions you guys have that I did not go over in the video, make sure you put them in the comments below. I'm happy to get to them. If you guys have any questions on how to incorporate these into your current routine, go ahead and put those questions in there. And if you guys need a routine to follow with these movements in them, make sure you guys hit up Chalk Performance Training. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and let me know of any other big 3 you'd like to see for any other specific body parts, or just in general videos that you'd like to see in the future. See you guys next time.